Hey, it's Aldwin.
And I'm Jason.
This is the Ready Play Tennis Podcast.
New balls, please.
We put our shit together so that we can entertain you.
Oops. Come back to life, Dick Enberg.
You know where I'm going with this, right?
I feel like it's another ass comment, but
Jason just called you on your bluff, and you came back and you called us an albatross? I don't know what that is.
do you know what this is? It's called entertainment in all caps. Time.
Ready?
Play. Oh, is that your dog? I think that's a perfect way to start the interview. We're so happy to have Rebecca Marino and her dog on the show.
It's great to be here.
So we wanted to obviously say thank you. One of the things that we do in our efforts to court players like you on the show is we constantly pester people on Instagram with our love and affection for your play and your story. So we did that with you. So we appreciate you seeing that and responding. And obviously it's timely that we have you here serendipitously because of some of the issues that have been emerging in tennis related to mental health, something that you know a lot about. So we're really excited to chat with you about all of that today.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, so it's great to be here. And yeah, getting all those nice messages, like so flattering. You just like ease me into coming here is great.
That's awesome. Well, before we dive in, we want to take you back. Are you ready to go back, Rebecca?
I guess so. Let's take it back. Yeah.
We're going to take you back to your childhood. And in our research about you, we found out that you come from a very athletic family. You know, it's no small thing. We know that your uncle has a gold medal somewhere in rowing. Is it in rowing?
Yeah, he was in pairs rowing Tokyo 64. He won the gold with his partner, Jackson. So Jackson Hungerford, 64.
That is incredible. And, you know, we know that your brother is also very athletic. So our first question is, like, growing up as a kid, was sports, like, what was the dynamic in your family in terms of sports? Were you all encouraged to be competitive in sports? Was sports just a part of like your daily life? What was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, both my parents are very athletic people too, so it was something that we always did together as a family. That was like our after school thing was always extracurricular sports, parent-children time, sports. So it was like just so ingrained in me to be competitive naturally through that, but it gave me such a passion and love for any sport from a really young age. So it's nice that it's continued with me up until now.
Yeah, and we actually found out that you didn't, in terms of racket sports, you didn't start off with tennis. Like, from our understanding, you became more serious, or you were introduced to tennis at 10, but you started off with badminton. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. Badminton was the first real racket sport that I did. And then, because I remember probably from the age of 5 or so, maybe younger, I don't know, when would it do with kids learn the alphabet? My mom would take me to the badminton court, and across the net we would start doing the alphabet and see if we could get all the way through. So that was the first racket sport.
First introduction. No wonder you have such a crazy booming serve, because in badminton all you do is overheads, isn't it?
Yeah, that was my favorite thing, was the smashes. I was never very good with the backhands or the forehand touch and the drop shots. It was always the smashes. I love that. So yeah, I guess that translated over really well to the tennis with the serve. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember playing a little bit of badminton myself. It's very, very fast. So as Aldwin said, you're a hard hitter, so makes sense that you would do a natural transition to tennis. But we wanted to ask, obviously it was, you had a decision to make to either get that full ride to university or play tennis. And what was sort of the back and forth in your mind in making that decision? And knowing the decision that you made, did you feel a little bit of extra pressure at that time to do well as you started on the pro tour?
Yeah, well, for me, it was a really tricky decision because I knew that I'd be giving up the academics and basically a free ride scholarship for women through tennis. It's full ride with Title IX. And for me and my family, we've been brought up that like education is incredibly important, and I knew that it would be something that I would want to do eventually, and in giving that up, would I be making the right decision, that sort of thing. So had a lot of discussions with my parents, of course, because they've been with me through the whole journey. And they told me at first to defer for 1 year so I could try playing tournaments. So I still had the possibility of going to school if I wanted, which was actually a really good decision in hindsight because it gave me a taste of the Pro Tour. And if I had decided then I wanted to go back to school, then I absolutely could have because I retained my amateur status. But by that point, I think I played the WTA tournament in Quebec City. I had my first top 100 win against Jill Krabis on those lightning fast courts. And, having that win kind of sparked it in my head that I was like, maybe this is something I should really give my 100%. And my dad gave me really good advice saying that, school will always be there. You can go at any time during your life, but a professional career in tennis will not always be there. So take this opportunity when you have it. That's how it all boiled down. Yeah.
We I love that you mentioned the Jill Krabis win. We actually have friends. So we play on the GLTA World Tour, which is the Gay and Lesbian Tennis Association tour. There are tournaments all over the world, and our friends that are in Quebec, when we see them in Montreal for the September tournament, many of them have volunteered at the Bell. I think it was formerly called the Bell Challenge. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Bell Challenge. And so they would tell us stories. They'd be like, oh my God, I remember watching that match between Rebecca and Jill. And, when we put it on our social today that we were interviewing, where they're like, say hi, we remember seeing her in the hallways. So, there's a whole bunch of GLTA members and fans that when we shared our news that we were interviewing you, they just went crazy. So just to let you know.
Oh, that's really cute. I love that. I mean, it was a great tournament. It was one of my favorite ones because everyone was just so kind and welcoming. And obviously I had some pretty decent results there. Yeah, but that's really cute. Well, thanks.
we wanted to take you back to, in the theme of taking back.
This is your life.
We wanted to take you back to a moment in your life that is rarely experienced by anyone else. And this moment is waiting in the tunnel of Arthur Ashe Stadium. Because, 2010, you worked your way through the qualifying of the US Open. You won 3 matches. You beat your first round opponent. You're facing Venus Williams. I mean, like everyone knows who Venus Williams is. Just take us back to that moment where you're waiting in the tunnel. What are you thinking? What is that moment like for you? Is it surreal?
Well, luckily it was a day match, so it wasn't like the dramatic night match, like you're in the tunnel sort of thing. But for me, I just kind of tried to pretend it was any other match and went from there. I mean, looking back, maybe I should have been a little more freaked out or like nervous, but I was kind of like, no, this is where I want to be. This is the stage. This is awesome. I was just happy to qualify. And then for my first round, I hadn't even looked at who I'd play in the second round. So to have that opportunity was pretty neat. But no, I don't know. I don't remember much about the tunnel, so I must have been just like blacked out, put my own blinders on, and just went for it. So yeah.
Once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime.
I mean, hopefully not once.
Hopefully not. Sorry, what am I saying?
But
ridiculous.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. And definitely like when you're growing up playing tennis, that's where you want to be. So to actually experience that was really, really cool.
I mean, you perhaps kind of alluded to it already, but I mean, you just said that being in Arthur Ashe, you're kind of had your blinders on, you're really focused on your own match. but do you recall or recollect a moment where, perhaps you're bouncing the ball and you look up and you're like, this stadium seats like 7 billion people. Like, did that ever happen? Did that happen to you during your match against Venus?
Yeah, when did that happen? I mean, I don't remember exactly what point it was, but I know I looked up and I realized how steep the stadium is. And it wasn't full because, like I said, it was a day match, so I could see all these like empty seats. There were people watching, granted, and it was televised. I know there were a lot of people at home watching, but yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is huge. And it felt like almost like the wind could come swirling down, and like they had the camera on the wire as well, and yeah, that was a little bit intimidating, but and I was like, no, just focus on tennis.
Yeah, avoid the spider camera and focus on the tennis.
Yeah, exactly.
I can tell you, I was there in 2014, and I was, I think, 10 rows from the top, and the players, you guys on the court, are very small up at that level, so it tells you how big the courts are. Well, speaking of a big court, you just came back from the French Open, and the tournament has evolved into a broader conversation about mental health in sports. We obviously know that you have a lot of experience with that. For those of you who don't know, I think it would be worthwhile having you, tell a little bit of your story in light of all that's been going on, and why you sort of decided to take a break from the sport in 2013.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's always interesting trying to tell people my tennis story, because it's like I've had multiple careers all in one. So yeah, so I played in the US Open when I was around 19 or so, and then I had a steep career rise in the rankings, and I made it up to 38 in the world. And then I really struggled with life on tour. I felt very lonely and isolated, and I struggled with my mental health. And so in 2013, I decided to retire from tennis, just to give myself time to get healthy and happy and sort of refine my identity off court. I actually found that was really helpful, and I'm really glad I took that time, because it makes me feel like a much more balanced person. And after 5 years of retirement, having gone to school, having coached, having done all these life experiences, I got the bug again, and I decided to return to tennis, having to start from scratch, no ranking, and climb my way back up to playing back in Grand Slam qualifying. There's been a few injuries along the way, but yeah, that's sort of the short version. Is I took a mental health break from tennis and returned happier, healthier, and much more passionate for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
We, in, again, just sharing with our followers that we were interviewing you, again, those guys from Quebec that were volunteers at that tournament. I think as tennis fans, when we hear a Canadian star like you taking a break from mental health, it's hard for us to vision what that looks like for you in terms of what your day-to-day grind on the tour is. So can you perhaps share, like, what is it specifically about being on the tour that that kind of put you in a situation where you had to really take care of your own mental health? Was it the traveling and being on your own? Was it just like the daily week in, week out grind of qualifying, being in the main draw? What was it, in fact?
It would probably be a whole bunch of different things compounded together. It was definitely the environment, in terms of having to travel week after week, knowing your defending points. If you had a great result the year before, you have to follow it up. Otherwise, you're gonna not make money, and your ranking is gonna fall. So your income is entirely dependent on performance, which is really stressful. Also, as an individual sport, everything is about you. So other people's jobs are reliant on you. So there's that sort of aspect of it. There's the travel, which was I think you could travel 30 to 32 weeks a year out of 52. And for me, I was based out of Montreal at that time. And for me, I struggled with that being from Vancouver. Vancouver is very much different than Montreal, and I didn't really have friends or family in Montreal. So for me, I never felt settled. I was always on the road, basically. And that sort of took a little bit of a toll on me. Yeah, so those are a few different reasons as to why I started to sort of struggle with feeling lonely. But knowing all that, now I feel like it's better prepared me for life on tour again. So I'm much more prepared. Yeah.
Obviously, the issue with Naomi Osaka has brought this really to the forefront. And, you know, it's not lost on us that she's the same age now as you were when you decided to step away. And her statement indicated that she's going to take a break. So if you were to hop on the phone with her or do a FaceTime with her, what advice would you give to her as she sort of takes this break and looks to sort of support self-care and her mental health?
Well, that's really hard because it's obviously her own personal journey, and I don't want to step in and say the wrong sort of thing. I will say that I appreciate her transparency with everyone, and that she's brought the talk about mental health and athletes' mental health to really the forefront of conversation. We're still talking about this, and it's been just the international headline, and people are agreeing with her that something needs to change in terms of how we look at and treat athletes. So I think that's really good, and I think it's great that she's also setting boundaries and she knows what she needs to do in order to help herself. So it's actually great that she's taking this break right now. I'm sure she has people around her who are going to support her as best they can. And so she just has to take as long as she needs and not feel pressure to come back and just do the things that will make her feel best, whether that's knowing what the boundaries are for journalists and interviews and that sort of thing, or if there's something else going on in her life that needs to be managed. Yeah, I think she's doing the right thing and taking a break right now, and just to take the time that she needs to get where she needs to.
Yeah.
I think, like you being back, we know you are great for the sport and Naomi is great for the sport. So we obviously all want her to get the help and support that she needs. During your time away, you got an English degree. You studied English. That's my degree, by the way. You have 1 year left. Oh. Okay. Well,
I wish I had my degree. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
well, you'll get it.
I will get it. I've been slowly chipping away in this past year in the pandemic. That's been something I've tried to work on and take a few classes, but it's so hard when I'm traveling right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I literally dropped everything I was doing to come back to tennis. 2 weeks before classes, I dropped everything. I quit my job and then I started training. So that's why I have 1 year left.
Well, I think we should go back to the question about what brought you back to tennis. Like, first, I'm interested in what the job is that you were doing and that you dumped. And does that employer still like you? And then, you know, what made you decide to drop everything and say now's the time?
Okay, so I was coaching. I was a tennis coach, and the employer still really likes me. We have a really good relationship, and he completely supports my decision to come back to tennis. And I do on occasion, like when I was injured, I was coaching for them again, just to have a little bit of income. Right. So great relationship there. Shout out to UBC Tennis Center. They're fantastic. But yeah, what made me want to come back to tennis? I had been thinking about it. Well, I mean, I've talked about this before publicly, that my father was diagnosed with cancer, and in February of 2017, yes, February 2017. And that was basically what kickstarted my decision to reevaluate things in my life that I felt were unresolved. And the top of that list was tennis. But this was something that I really kept close to my chest and I didn't tell anyone about. And so it took me from February all the way until, Van Open in Vancouver, the 100,000 ITF and ATP in August. And Rick DeVos, the tournament director, asked me to be a hitting partner. And I was like, okay, I've already been thinking a little bit about coming back to tennis. This will be a really good opportunity for me to see if A, I'm comfortable being around a tournament, B, if I can still hit with these girls who are currently on tour. So I was just like, sure, I'll do it. And I loved it. And I hit with a few girls and I was like, oh, dang, I still got it. And I talked to a couple coaches that I knew who I felt I could trust. And they supported the decision. And I was like, okay, if they think this is not a completely crazy idea, maybe this is something I need to do, and I need to do it right now. And so had the discussion with my parents and my friends and all the rest of my family, and everyone was completely supportive. It seemed like it was completely out of left field as well, because it was just like I was in the school mode, I was coaching, I was just like totally different track. And yeah, that's how it all started. Just not wanting to live with regrets later in my life, basically.
That's phenomenal. I mean, when it's right, it's right. I think that you can totally find yourself in a certain lane, but as you just mentioned, tennis being on top of the things that were unresolved, I just, if you feel like you need to go back and explore that avenue, then all the power to you. And obviously, as tennis fans, listen, I've said it. We've said it before on this Zoom, but I don't know that you understand the magnitude to which, when we share your story and like your comeback amongst just our tennis community, our small tennis community here in Toronto, our gay tennis community, they love you. So it was so thrilling to hear that you were on your comeback. And girl, you didn't just come back; you came back and you won everything. Like. Didn't you come back and you won 3 tournaments in a row?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
See,
I wasn't even sure if I went into that tournament and I was like, what are the rules again? Like, anything changed? I had to like look up the rules and regulations. Like, no, everything's the same. So that was pretty insane. But like, yeah, when I think it was 18 matches in a row or something. Maybe more. I don't remember, but I was like, okay, yeah, this is a good decision.
We had the results ticker live. We saw all your results. All of the girls here in the Toronto Gay and Lesbian League were following you, so we were really proud of you. But I think our next question for you is that, obviously everyone has been affected by the pandemic. And we wanted to know, like, clearly your comeback came before the pandemic, but now that we are in the midst, I'd have to say that we're kind of in the tail end of the pandemic and we're probably returning to a sense of normalcy sooner than later. But what was your feeling as you're trying to mount this comeback when the pandemic really first emerged last March? Did you feel like, oh man, like, what's going on? Or did you have to kind of reevaluate, refocus? What was that situation for you?
Yeah, well, I actually think it was a positive thing for me, if I can say so. The pandemic as a whole is not a great thing, and I'm not saying it should happen, but for me, I tore the plantar fascia in my foot in August before. So I was completely off. I could barely walk for 30 minutes,
Oh God.
let alone play tennis. So for me, it was like, okay, if everything's canceled and the rankings are frozen, that means like my ranking's frozen. So that's great. I don't have to worry about like rushing to come back. And that's something that I kind of have a bad habit of doing is not working through my injury completely, like everyone, and returning too soon. So it really
wait till you turn 40.
So it really forced me to focus on recovering my injury to like 100%, and then yeah, it actually was a blessing in disguise and a complete silver lining. And then there was just a lack of tournaments once I was ready around November. So then it just happened to be Australian Open qualifying as my first one back from injury. And yeah, so that was a good start.
Are you a mind reader? Because that is exactly the next question we were going to ask you.
Oh, there we go.
You set us up.
You're okay. So let's get into it, because 2021 Australian Open qualifying, you get through your first 3 rounds. First of all, what was your mindset for those qualifying matches? What was your goal? And what was your goal heading into qualifying?
Well, I wanted to keep my expectations low, but obviously I wanted to qualify as well. Like everyone wants to qualify, but I knew that it was my first tournament back and I couldn't be too hard on myself. So I wanted to play a little bit free, which I don't think happened. I was extremely nervous, truthfully, because I knew that if I lost, I would have to pretty much return straight home and quarantine because there were no other tournaments for me to play. Or if I did qualify, I had to guarantee 2 or 3 tournaments. So I was like, okay, sweet, this is a great opportunity. I really need to qualify. But like, okay, if you don't, but you really need this. So that was kind of what was happening back and forth in my head. I felt really nervous in all the matches. I just knew that I had to hold serve the whole time pretty much. And luckily I was serving really well for all the 3 matches. Of course, really fast. It suited me really well. And then huge relief once I qualified and then made it down to Melbourne. Yeah.
Yeah, you qualified your 3 matches. You faced an Australian player, Burrell, in the first round. The first set was pretty comprehensive. Again, we were watching. Our eyes were like glued on the television. And the second set got a bit dicey. She had 5 set points, and you won the tiebreak in like 11-9, if I'm not mistaken. So Okay, am I reading your mind when I'm saying like you should have closed that out earlier? What was your whole kind of feeling in that second set against Burrell?
100%. I got the yips. It's almost like that first set was just too easy, or not too easy. Just it made me relax too much, and I have a really bad habit of being like, oh, that's it, and then forgetting the other person's going to try harder come the second set. And I just let her in. I think at the first couple games, I could have been up 2-0, or I don't really remember, but I really needed to like continue to put the pressure on her, and I just used up too much. And then it was just back and forth in that second set, and oh man, it just yeah, I made it way too tight for myself, and I think I gave a lot of people heart attacks.
When you said you got the yips, were you having like an issue with the serve? When I hear that term, I always think something goes off with the serve, or something goes off with one of your strokes that is impacting your place in the match.
That's true. I don't think it was one shot in particular. The yips was more just like I felt like it was so close that I just like I get there and then I give it away. So almost like in the point play of itself, the yips. So it was almost like the reality of winning a main draw match was like right there. I wanted it so badly that I wasn't making it happen. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that feeling of wanting something too badly. Yeah.
We feel that way every time we play a tournament, a first round match for no money. So
yeah, so it's a universal feeling regardless of what level we're at.
Absolutely.
Very true.
So you clinched that match against Burrell first round. You faced the French Open finalist Von Drusev in the second round. what was your, I mean, as you're working your way through the match, what was your feeling like? Did you feel like you had chances? If I'm not mistaken, like the second set, you kind of were able to work your way in. What was your kind of takeaway from that match against Vondrousova?
Well, we had played each other at Fed Cup in 2019 in the Czech Republic. So I was aware of her game style a little bit. I knew I had a better opportunity against her on hard court. And it just took me a little bit too long to get into that match. So the first set definitely got away from me. And in that second set, again, I worked my way to get into it. And then I found myself up 5-3. And then kind of almost realized I had that opportunity and it slipped away. And that's sort of the difference at the top level, is when you have those opportunities, like you need to take the 1 point when it's there instead of, thinking too much about it or free points and that sort of thing. So it was definitely a good, difficult learning experience. And it also, I think she was top 20 at the time, showed me that I can hang with the top 20 player, which was really, a nice feeling. And then the next tournament I played Martic, she was also top 20, and I went to 3 sets with her and probably should have won that match. So I was like, okay, I'm right back in it. I'm where I want to be, and I just got to keep plugging away at it. So even though I lost against Vondrousova and against Martic, there's a lot of good things to take away from those matches, and I can't be too disappointed in not capitalizing on the chances I had, but then learn from it and not do it again.
You talked about playing again with Team Canada, and you did that back in, was it March or April this year?
Yeah, that was in April. We played against Team Serbia and
it was a clean sweep of matches, and you played singles. Did you play doubles as well? I forget.
I played singles and doubles.
So it was 3-0 if I recall, and you were kind of the veteran alongside our other friend Layla. So what was that like, sort of playing alongside her, and what do you think of her and her emergence in the sport?
Oh, she's fantastic. I'm a huge Layla fan, and I think she's a great friend on tour as well. I've known her, I guess, when she was still playing a lot of junior tournaments before she was really making it on the pro tour. We trained together in Montreal back when I was starting my comeback. She was starting to come up in the juniors. And we played doubles a few times. I think we even won the 25,000 in Gatineau. So really good relationship with her. So I'm so pleased that all the hard work that she's putting in is paying off. She's top 100. Hopefully we'll get into the Olympics soon. And, she's keeping a good, humble attitude, but she's like a nice person and still like competitive. And I think she's just overall a fantastic person and player and athlete in Canadian. So big fan.
Just a quick question about the Olympics, because the Olympics seems to be like the forgotten event of the 2021 year. I mean, Jason and I have been covering the slams and all of the tournaments, and we're so thankful that the tournaments and the tours seem to be returning to a sense of normalcy. But like, what does that look like for you in terms of qualification for the Summer Olympics in Japan this year?
Well, for me, I don't think it's going to happen. Just a matter of where my ranking is right now, and I already was kind of aware of that. But it seems like a lot of the other players are very excited about the Olympics, and Japan seems like they're wanting to go ahead no matter what. So I'll be quite curious to see what's going to happen on the sidelines. And there's going to be other tournaments going on that same week, so most likely I'll be off playing somewhere while everyone's competing in the Olympics. And it should be really exciting, and it should be really interesting to just see what news comes out of it as well, just because it's a bit of a hot topic, because it seems Japan as a country,
Yeah.
people aren't completely keen on it happening as well. So we'll see. It'll be good, but I think of all the countries that can pull it off, they can do it. So
You'll be slamming some balls in the hard court season somewhere.
yeah, I'm so looking forward to hard court season.
Yeah. That is your season. Actually, sorry, Jay, I just wanted to add a little bit of a thing. But we have on Facebook, we're members of the GLTA Players Lounge. So it's a Facebook group of GLTA players that, make comments and share stories about, their favorite players on the tour. Again, when we posted today that we were going to be talking to you, there was a thread of players that were saying, watch out for Rebecca for the grass court season, because she's got that big booming serve, she's got those hard ground strokes. So like hard court is your season, but we feel like you could do a little something on grass.
A few people have said that. We'll see if I can get on some grass courts. I'm currently in Vancouver quarantining after Roland Garros, so I don't know if Wimbledon's going to happen for me, because my ranking dropped a little bit. So that's why I returned home.
Okay.
Maybe skip the grass courts, prep for hard court. If I squeak in, I'm going to go, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Before we get into the fun part of our chat with our little game, we thought we would just share. Obviously, we've seen your TED Talk from 2013, and it's obviously very inspiring to come out and share your experience in front of a bunch of strangers related to your sort of mental health. And what I thought was interesting was you talked about the retirement party you had for yourself at 22 and ending sort of the tennis chapter in your life. And now you're sort of starting a new chapter. So we wondered, is this like a new book? Is this a new chapter? Or and sort of what are your goals for 2021 and going forward?
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, it's interesting thinking back on that TED Talk, because I feel like that's a completely I've said this a few times, but it feels like a completely different person. I was in a completely different mindset. I look like a different person. You can tell I was just like not in a good place. So yeah, if I could go and like maybe erase it, not erase it, but yeah, there's some things I wish I could sort of change, because the narrative is a lot different, and I feel I could articulate things a lot better. So I would call this just a different chapter in my life of the novel of Rebecca Marino. So we'll see what other chapters are added on, but it's been an interesting ride so far, and great experiences. So yeah, maybe I should write a book. I don't know.
Well,
put my degree to good use once I finish that. And then you wanted my goals for 2021, right?
And beyond, yeah.
And beyond.
You're back in your tennis career now.
Yeah. So I would like to this year be completely injury-free, maintain injury-free for as long as possible in the coming years as well. And if I can start by getting my ranking back into qualifying of Grand Slams, I think that's a reasonable goal for the next 6 months at least, to get my ranking going back up again. And then of course, if I could get back in the top 100, that would be amazing. I know I have the level, but it's a matter of actually making it happen. So that's the future goal, a little bit more long term.
Mm-hmm.
But the exact number, not sure. I'll keep that a bit close to me, but I think those are realistic goals that I can achieve if I keep my focus on it and work really hard. And maybe if it's a little bit easier with the travel coming back into Canada soon, because the 2-week quarantine is kind of killing my training a little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
This is going to air in a couple of weeks, but that restriction has been lifted today if you've been vaccinated. So
but I've been away for so long that I haven't even gotten my first vaccination.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I'm going to be getting mine I get out of quarantine on Friday, and I booked my appointment for Sunday because I think everyone should get vaccinated. But yeah, I'm really excited for at least that, and then if I can get a second dose sometime, then I can be quarantine free.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. It's good.
Well, I think we speak for all of our listeners that we can't wait to read all of the chapters of your book. I did forget before we go to the game, but we did have a couple of listener questions. So one is from Nick, who asked if you could have any shot from a current player or retired player, WTA or ATP, who would it be and why?
I mean, doesn't everyone want Roger Federer's one-hand backhand? I think that's yeah. If I could, that's something I remember when I was first starting to learn to play tennis, and I was trying to learn my two-handed backhand. And I was like, Coach, can I please learn a one-hand backhand? He's like, you can barely hit a two-handed backhand. So I've always dreamed of having that. So if I could just steal that. What are the shot? Retired player, I would take Cara Black's volleys in a heartbeat. They're so good. And then, oh my goodness, who has the good trick shots? Monfils tweeners.
Oh yeah.
Good
flashy player.
Choices. Yeah. From Ryan, do you have any on-court superstitions? One of the or anything that you do that's sort of odd or unusual? I mean, when we spoke with Layla, we talked about her butt kicks and her like jumping up and down at the back of the court before she gets ready to receive. Do you have any of those kinds of things?
I try not to be too set in stone, because if something goes wrong, I don't want to lose my focus. But I've noticed that I tap the net post when I walk past it. When I go, and I saw someone commented that, I think on Twitter, I can't remember where I read it, and they're like, oh, it's so cute that she taps the net post. And I was like, oh my God, people are noticing that I'm doing it. So I guess that's kind of my thing, is tapping the net post with my racket or my hand, but then if it's not working, don't tap it, whatever. Like, it's not a set thing.
People notice everything.
I know.
It's true. I love that. That's such a cute little. That's a cute little habit that you have. Like, you tap it with like your racket as you on the changeover.
Yeah, just a little tap. Just like, yeah.
One little tap.
Just one. Yeah. So if you notice it from now on, if you ever see any of the matches and I'm tapping, you're like, oh, she's doing it.
We're gonna watch out for that for sure. Yeah. The last question before we get to the game is from Anne, our IG follower. What do you think both tours could do to support players with their sort of mental health journey on the tour?
That's a great question. Well, it seems like, at least from, I know more from the WTA side, so I'm going to speak mostly from that, but I'm sure the ATP is quite just as serious as the WTA. They really taking a priority in helping players with their mental health, and they've made available some resources to us. And in light of everything that's happened in the news past couple weeks with Osaka, they've sent out emails saying, like, here are the resources if you need them. Please don't hesitate to contact us. They're trying to pull the players to see how they can help. And as well, the discussion has started as how can journalists and the media start to change as media is changing in itself. So it's great that the conversation's starting. In terms of things that might be more helpful, it's hard to exactly say. I know we do have a mental health professional available at all tournaments for the WTA, so that's great. And I'm sure if we asked, actually, I know for a fact we can do Zoom chats with them, or Microsoft Teams, or any other platform to chat with them. So I feel like they're taking a lot of steps forward to help players and make them feel more comfortable, and that mental health is just as important as physical health. So I don't exactly have anything that can be changed, but I think we're at least heading in the right direction.
That's fantastic. Do you like games, Rebecca?
I do, of course.
So Jason and I, we have a game on our podcast that we've done with all of our player interviews, and we're so honored that you're going to play this game with us. It's called a Changeover. It's a series of rapid fire questions. As I'm coughing my lungs out. Where we're going to offer you like a this or that. And I guess the way to play the game is like to instinctually choose the this or the that. And then there's also going to be a couple of like favorite type questions. Like this isn't one of them, but like favorite ice cream flavor, something like that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you ready to play our game?
I'm so ready.
And because it's called the changeover, you have to like do an action like you're tapping your racket on the net because that's what happens on your changeovers.
Right. Well, I just tapped the camera, so I'm ready.
Perfect. You don't have to tap it every time.
I know.
Okay, here we go. Time on the clock. Becky or Becca?
Becca.
Serve or volley?
Serve.
I knew that one. Cross court or down the line?
Down the line.
National Bank Open in Montreal or Toronto?
Ooh.
Montreal. Sorry, guys.
Shady. But we got you. We got you.
That's okay. Because you are currently doing your undergrad in English literature, Margaret Atwood or Alice Munro?
Probably Atwood.
Ooh. Essay or short answer?
Short answer.
Short answer. Me too. Because we're in French Open season, are you croissant or baguette?
Croissant all the way.
Croissant all the way, I know, right? Louvre or Eiffel Tower?
Louvre. Yeah.
Louvre.
Louvre.
You like museums?
I do, yeah.
We watched, sorry, just, I know we're like ruining the game right now, but I watched your IG stories and we literally followed you 30 seconds as you're just like going through all of Paris. we loved it. We loved how you were discovering Paris and all of the sites. It was wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's something, I've been trying to do is like see a little bit of the city when I'm there. That's something I didn't do in Career 1.0 that I'm trying to do in Career 2.0. And
yes.
When I was, in the past 2 months, I posted a few stories and my friends were like, oh my God, share more because we can't travel. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just share everything. And people don't want to watch it. They don't need to watch it. So
no, we loved it. We saw you in the Louvre. We saw you all of your stories with the paintings and the statues. It was fabulous.
Thank you. Yeah, I loved it.
Okay, it's barbecue season. Are you a hot dog or hamburger girl?
I think I'm a hamburger girl.
And what is on your hamburger?
I would put some sauteed onions and mushrooms and some lettuce, barbecue sauce, maybe some mayo with the red chili paste.
Ooh,
mix that up, slap it all together.
Okay.
It's really good.
Sounds delicious.
Spicy.
Mm-hmm.
Becca is spicy. Okay. favorite slam.
The Happy Slam, Aussie Open.
Is that what it's called? The Happy Slam?
Yeah.
Happy Slam.
It is very fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's definitely, I think everyone should start that as their first slam if they ever get the chance. It's the middle of the summer for them in our winter. And that makes you happy to begin with.
That's true.
Yeah. Just
get out of here.
Athletic community in Melbourne as well, so they really appreciate their tennis.
Yes. Favorite throwdown jam. So like if you were dancing at a party or at a club or whatever, what's the song that like really gets you going?
Oh no. I don't think I have a fast answer for this one. I'm blanking. I usually feel like I'm pretty good with my music, and I'm
That's okay.
blanking.
Are you like a rock girl? Are you like a rap girl?
More like rock, alternative kind of thing. So that's why I'm not really coming up with a poppy jam. But I feel like what's the song that everyone would just go down to? I don't know. Black Eyed Peas, whatever. Everyone starts singing along, whether they love it or not. They'll start singing along.
Black Eyed Peas. We will both get down to Black Eyed Peas. That's all good. Okay. This is a bit of like this is kind of like, I think we both know the answer because we did our research on you. Favorite holiday?
Oh, Christmas. I think.
It's not Halloween.
No.
You know why? Do you know why? We looked at your Instagram and we found that you posted so many Instagram.
I really do like Halloween. Because it's just an excuse to like post the costumes and stuff. I like Christmas more, and the reasoning, it just barely edges out Halloween. So you were almost right, is because my birthday is on the 16th of December, so I get like back-to-back presents. So that's pretty much the only reason why I like Christmas more.
Well, you have
very close second is Halloween because candy and costumes. So yeah.
Well, you have Christmas, and then Halloween is gay Christmas, so you're winning on both fronts.
There you go.
Okay, a few more. Last series that you've binged on Netflix or another streaming service?
I was binging The Serpent on Netflix.
I've seen previews for that. It looks really good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot. A few people have said it's like a little too spooky at the beginning because it involves a serial killer. So if someone's not into that, maybe avoid it. Something that I've just started watching is I think it's called The Real Bros of Simi Valley. It's a parody on the real whatever, insert
Housewives.
Place name. It's actually on Facebook Watch. Yeah, which is kind of random. But it's pretty funny. It's short little ones.
We all need our guilty pleasures.
Yeah, so we'll see. Very, very different shows. So a little bit of something for everyone there.
And the last question on our changeover game is, you, Jason, and I are, we just had a tennis training session. It's Friday night. We're all at your place, and we're like, Becca, we're tired. We're not cooking a damn thing. What are you ordering for our Uber Eats?
The funny thing is, I've been thinking about what I've been wanting to order from this place the last like 2 days, and I've been trying to like not do it from sheer willpower. Tacofino. Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
Tacofino?
Yeah. It's
Mexican.
They have a place in Tofino, and it's a little burrito shop, but they also have other locations all across Vancouver now. So they do burritos and tacos, and it's so good. So if anyone ever makes it out to Vancouver, that is like, I think, one of the places to go if you want to have some of that Mexican flair, but like West Coast style. So
they don't deliver to Toronto.
I know. Sorry, I could mail one out. I don't think it would taste the same.
No, probably not.
But yeah, there's lots of good places in Vancouver. So if you wanted to eat out, I can give you lots of options. Peaceful Restaurant, or if you're vegetarian, the Nom.
Yes.
It's dinner time. It's past dinner time here, and I haven't eaten, so I'm very hungry.
I'm making you hungry.
That is our game, Becca. Thank you so much for playing. You get 100%.
Thank you. That was fun.
Well, thank you for being on our show. We really, look forward to following your journey, and we hope that you continue to rise in the rankings, and we keep we look forward to seeing you pounding that ball on the hard courts this summer and through 2021.
No, thanks. That was really fun, and I hope the season goes really well for me as well.
I know Aldwin has a quick story to share.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say that first of all, don't be scared. I'm not your stalker.
Okay.
I love you literally so much. I moved to a new place recently here in Toronto in February, and as I was packing my things, I was just contemplating about Jason and our podcast together, and I'm like, universe, send me a sign of who is going to be on our podcast this year. And as I was kind of rifling through my things, do you know what I found, Becca?
What did you find? Oh my gosh, that is a throwback. Baby there.
Baby
Baby Becca. Oh my goodness, with the baseball cap like that. Oh, that's really funny. That's really funny.
2011 Rogers Cup. My friend Russell and I watched you. You lost against Makarova, but that's okay.
Oh, I always had the hardest. She beat me 3 times, and I always had like these close matches, and she just would always get me. She was like in my head, the rival that I wanted to get. And I never got her.
Oh, well, listen, Jason has expressed his gratitude to you. I want to just let you know that this has been an absolute honor for Jason and I. I want you to understand that you have literally legions of fans here in Toronto and in Montreal and Quebec that support you in your journey in coming back. And, whenever you tap that little racket on the changeover, we'll be watching you and all of your fans out here in the East Coast. So thank you so much for being on our show.
Oh gosh, I really appreciate that. And I do feel the support from everyone coast to coast. I mean, I still have friends and family in all the different cities you've named: Montreal, Quebec, Toronto, even out in Moncton, New Brunswick. So literally coast to coast. I feel so much love and support in my journey back. So thanks for having me on and letting me share my story as well.
We're here for your tennis-tainment or your tentertainment or whatever it is. But if you like what we're serving up, please give us a 5-star review and like, share, and subscribe, and like such as.
Wait, one more thing. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Ready Play Tennis Podcast.